Tipperary score, 19 points already. Good catch by Shane Ahern. Penny in spiral recovery for the men from the Déisle. Hopping it off the ground, trying to get inside Bobby Ryan. Not an easy task, and Paul Delaney with the loose ball coming favourably to him. Gets it down to Nicky English. Getting there ahead of Peter Welch once again. Inside towards Cormac Bonner, slightly off balance with Damien Byrne nudging him from behind. And another free in. And the Waterford backs committing a lot of fouls. And Byrne insistent that Horgan, the referee, has got it wrong. And if he's not careful, yes, the notebook's out again. Now they've lost their cool completely at this stage, some of the Waterford players. Things are not going their way. They're seeing it a particular way, the referee's seen it another, and he's ordering Peter Welch to get away from the action so that he can lecture the number 3. So he's in the notebook, and by my tally now, Waterford with 5 players, their names in the referee's book, and one of them has been sent off. So they're all on cautions at this stage. They've got to control their emotions. There's a lot of time remaining. We've over 25 minutes to go. And Cormac Bonner just receiving a little attention. Nicky English, who's remained absolutely composed all through this. And he illustrates that by tapping it high and over the bar, flawlessly putting over his 9th point. He's very much contributing a kind of man-of-the-match contribution so far. Jimmy Power, his side having scored just 1 point in the second half, now down to 14 men. A push that time on Shane Ahern, and it's going to be a free for Waterford. And this is a little chat here between Babs Keating and Theo English. Theo, who played in the Tipperary side, beaten by Waterford sensationally in 1959, and the Tipperary Brains Trust now getting together just to decide on their pattern as Pat Ryan takes the fray and puts it to the left and wide. First Waterford wide of the second half, the 5th wide in all. Tipperary, meanwhile, have been absolutely unerring in their finishing. They haven't put a ball wide in the opening 11 minutes of the second half, and they've struck over 8 points in all by my count. And I wonder if Donal O'Grady down there near the dugouts can read the intent of the Waterford management early in the second half, as we Tipperary management incidentally, as we watch John Lahey try that one. Any idea, Donal, what they're discussing down there?
We're really looking at the Waterford bench at the moment. I think there's a look of resignation over their faces. They're trying different moves, but I think they know at this stage that is nearly all up.
Well, there's a long time to go yet.
Well, I think Tip have taken over completely, and Waterford, as you said, they're in discipline at the start of the second half, where they give away a couple of points there from silly frees, and they have a man sent off. I think that is all over for them.
Waterford having lost a man, Noel Crowley having been sent off. And that's Phil Fanning there on the left. Ollie Wilkinson we saw for a moment. Shane Ahern, the free taker up towards Anthony Coulter, trying to steal inside the cover of Noel Sheehy. Coulter once again, but it's a fully composed and unyielding Tipperary defence that they're meeting this afternoon. They're standing quite resolutely, and it's absolutely impossible for Waterford to get any kind of yardage. Donal O'Grady, I understand we have a tip sub about to come in.
That's why Tipperary are warming up John Cormac. I'm not quite sure who's coming in yet, but it might be a precautionary to take off Colin Bonner, who received a couple of knocks in midfield. That's the news, I think, from the Tipperary bench.
So John Cormac will be coming in presently as Ger Fitzpatrick down that right-hand side towards Shane Ahern, who's fouled by Paul Delaney. And tempers now spilling over somewhat. You've trained so hard for this, you're built up, he's the team captain, things just not going well, and understandable emotions. Kieran Delahunty, the free taker. And that's a good one. The two umpires consult, and John Cormac, the 25-year-old, comes in for Tipperary from Lochmore Castleiney in his first championship season. The player who's going off is Colin Bonner. Bonner, who gave his all in this match. And also a change by Waterford, as you see there. Kevin Ryan, younger brother of Pat Ryan, coming into the fray. So 2 Ryans now in the Waterford team. I wouldn't be too surprised. Yes, Ryan is going into the full forward line, and it seems to me that it's Anthony Coulter has come off. So just to confirm the score, 20 points for Tipperary, 1-7 for Waterford. That's 20 against 10. Declan Ryan opening up in towards Cormac Bonner and just unable to hold on to it. Declan Ryan, who's played so much of his championship hurling at half forward in his second championship season. So both sides ringing the changes. Waterford, remember, down to 14 men, 10 points adrift. Nicky English trying to play that one into the path of Joe Hayes. It was stopped by Peter Welch, and a foul by Peter Welch on a persistent Nicky English. The style and the balance and commitment of Nicky English is admirable, and Welch there in a little show of frustration, having done well the first time to stop English, fouled him on the second occasion. So the 24-year-old giving away the free to tip. A nonplussed Nicky English, the free taker. 9 points he's contributed so far. This from outside the 45-metre line, and he's put one wide. That is his first wide of the game. Tipperary's 8th wide in all, their 3rd for the second half. Jimmy Parr's puck out. Bobby Ryan under the dropping ball with Kieran Delahunty. It runs on. Declan Ryan towards English again. Nice little dummy that time. Pretended he was going out, let it drop over his head. It goes into Cormac Bonner, yet to score. How he'd love to get one. Fouled, and that's a foul by Peter Welch, and it's going to be another free in for Tip. A series of errors, a series of overcommitted challenges and fouls by the Waterford backs. And that really is making it very easy for Tipperary. So who else to take the free? The aforementioned Den English. Will this be point number 21 in the 16th minute of the second half? That's his 10th. Waterford, I can tell you, are just bringing in another substitute. Donal O'Grady would maybe be able to tell us about that.
I think Sean Conan is coming on. I think it is for Peter Walsh, the right cornerback, who Nicholas English has been roasting, I think.
Well, that's the way I see it as well. Sean Cullinan certainly comes in to mark Nicky English after it seemed for an awful long time that Peter Welch was really at sea against the master striker. 21 points to 1-7 for Waterford. Timmy Sheehan committed as always at right half back. Pat Ryan likewise. Waterford will want to put a bit more respectability now up on the score sheet following those maulings in 82 and 83 in the last 2 Munster finals. This is O'Connor. Can he provide direction and inspiration? Trying to get through, fouled, and a free in. Tony Mansfield going up along the sideline. Kieran Delahunty just checking there with Mansfield. And I think Mansfield is suggesting that he should put it over the bar. There's Tony Mansfield, certainly with his finger he was indicating that he wanted the ball put up and over. Waterford have about 18 minutes to go. Delahunty is leaving, he's taking this one. Kieran Delahunty, the free taker, and he's put it high, way up high into the stand behind the goal over there. And another point for Waterford at this stage, merely in the consolation category, but at least it keeps them in touch. So Waterford with 3 points to show for the second half so far. Shane Ahern picking up a stinging hand injury. And the referee calling over Declan Ryan. A nasty hand injury picked up by the Waterford captain, and attention being required. And Declan Ryan being spoken to. He's the second of the tip men to have his name taken. Showing just far too much of the timber that time. An over-committed challenge. Dangerous play, the referee reads it. And Shane Ahern needing attention, and he's up on his feet and lecturing the referee. They're not at all pleased, I think, with the justice being meted out to the team. Waterford, I don't think, are all that terribly pleased with the refereeing at this stage. And Ahern, to judge by his demeanour, is anything but pleased, and certainly that hand injury looks particularly nasty. And he's still lecturing the referee, and I'm sure what he's saying to him is, you sent off one of our fellas for dangerous play, why didn't you send off the other guy? Damien Byrne, the free taker, on his own 45-metre line. Bobby Ryan going out there gathering. stylishly taking it away out of the half-back line. Downfield, stopped by Timmy Sheehan. Well, it's a full-blooded contest in every sense of that word in the 100th Munster Hurling final, which we're bringing to you live this afternoon from Cork's Porky Queeve. And a can being thrown in over there. We're very lucky at GA matches that we don't ever have crowd trouble, and you have to think that the players have a great responsibility to really behave well and ensure that that record continues. Declan Ryan in towards Cormac Bonner. Foul once again by Damien Byrne. Whoops, a hefty shoulder after that ball came across on Pat Fox. And the referee once again going in there and signalling a free for Tipperary. Pat Ryan protesting the situation, but the referee says he was held. I saw it clearly, he says. And the Iceman type personality of Nicky English responding to the challenge by tapping it over. And the statistics are really impressive. 11 points he's got today out of 22. Jimmy Parr's puck out. Sticks flying around like confetti down there, and it's Billy Sullivan taking it forward, not beating Declan Ryan, however, with the intended lob over his head. Ryan standing steadily, lobbing it in towards Cormac Bonner. Damien Byrne there too, and it beats them all. Waterford in the second half have scored 3 points, just one wide in the half. Tip in the second half added 10 points, and they had 4 wides as well. A fair indication of their superiority. Donald Bonner outside to Declan Ryan, into space towards Pat Fox, trying to pick it up here, challenged by Jimmy Beresford. Beresford lobbing it out only as far as the waking. John Cormac, the substitute, looking to get his name on the score sheet, and he's duly done so. Got a point as well against Limerick, I seem to remember, 3 weeks ago. And Cormac has put that one over, his first point since coming on in the second half. 14 minutes remaining. The winner is assured of a place in the semi-final of the All-Ireland Championship for Tip, bidding to win the title for the 34th time in Munster. And they're 3 in a row as well. John Lahey down towards Cormac Bonner. Good catch, good supply inside, but it's cut out by Jimmy Beresford, who watched that all the way, kept his eye on it, outside to the unmarked Pat Ryan, sweeping it out of defence. Noel Sheehy used to play centre half back. It's John Heffernan, in fact, who gets back there. Paudie Prendergast, who's gone out of this match. John Cormac, Jimmy Beresford. This is Sean Cullinan, tightening up the marking, but wide of the target. Sean Cullinan, the man who's been brought in to mark Nicky English, very belatedly it has to be said, advancing that time, but putting it wide. So on this very, very hot day in Cork, Tip looking very committed, very stylish, very settled side as well. And it has to be said, as Declan Ryan is fouled there by Shane Ahern, who's now called across by the referee, and his name is about to go into the notebook as well. And off the ball, I see that Ger Fitzpatrick has ended up on the ground. Shane Ahern is fouled, or has his name taken, and the linesman over there, John Motherway from Ahada in County Cork, has come in to notify Willie Horgan as to what happened. Ger Fitzpatrick, this was that first tussle. Shane Ahern against Declan Ryan, and keep your eye on Shane Ahern. There's the foul committed on Declan Ryan. Dangerous play. We didn't quite see what happened here to... Oh, there it is now, in straight into the face with the ball. He was on the ground on his hunkers initially, but the ball was thrown right into his face. Declan Ryan. So hotting up considerably, and the cameramen spread back from the fray as Billy Sullivan is hooped, trying to round Paul Delaney, who holds him. Joe Hayes gives a pat of congratulations to Paul Delaney for stemming the attack. Kieran Delahunty in what's turning out to be a fairly tempestuous second half. A slip there by the Tip cornerback, John Heffernan. Kieran Delahunty with the sun in his eyes. A good call from Shane Ahern, his team captain. Neatly inside. That was Kevin Ryan. Once again Heffernan. Paul Delaney waiting for the supply of the ball to come out from the full-back line. Cullinane, Sean Cullinane going back, reading it well, making a difference. Going out over the far sideline. And another tip ball. So a lot of bookings in this match. One sending off as well. Noel Crowley has been sent off since the 7th minute of the second half. Waterford down to 14 players. 7 other bookings as well besides that dismissal. Ryan's sideline ball across towards Ger Fitzpatrick, sidestepping his way out of trouble, but it's blocked down by an alert Nicky English, held whenever there was a scent of danger by Pat Ryan. And really Tip looking a class ahead, and Phil Fanning quite resigned there with Ollie Wilkinson, I think, to the result at this stage. Sheer disappointment for them, and it's tapped over by Nicky English. Just adding to the agony. He's got 12 out of 24 points for Tip now. Of those 12 points, incidentally, by my tally, 7 of them have come from frees. John Cormack back there to receive the delivery at midfield, the hand pass outside to Conall Bonner with 10 minutes remaining. Having played an hour of this Munster final, Nicky English, a very alert and very sharp player, but that hand pass a little misdirected back towards John Lahey. But they seem to have more players in the field, which of course they do, but they seem to have more than just the one on the field. Cormac Bonner getting his stick to that, but also Damien Byrne, and it's gone for a 65, the second of the match. The Tipperary fans, I'm sure, very pleased with the way things have transpired in the second half, but I wonder if even they would have preferred a harder, stiffer championship tie. Paul Delaney. Stopped on the goal line, and very well stopped by an alert goalkeeper, Jimmy Parr, but it's another 65, and the sun raining down in his eyes on that occasion. It's a real blinding sun down there. So Tip then converging on the Blackrock end of Corky Queeve. Paul Delaney, the taker of the 65. 24 points for Tip so far. And stopped once again as Joe Hayes was going in on the goalkeeper that time. Very well stopped. Nicky English. And he's got a hand injury. Challenged by Damien Byrne. Injury is in. English is injured. And the referee calling across Damien Byrne, who's already been booked in this match, and I think he's about to go as well. Waterford, it would seem to me, are about to be down to 13 players. Well, he lost his cool, I think, considerably in the second half. Watch it once again. English was tearing through. Keep an eye out for the number 3, Damien Byrne, back in front of goal as the move starts. English going across. Byrne flaking it across the arm, and the referee says, off you go. So the second Waterford player dismissed in what's turning out to be a thoroughly disappointing and somewhat unsporting Munster final. It'll be a free-in, a lot of booing and a lot of jeering from the Waterford fans. Not agreeing with that decision by referee Willie Horgan, but having already taken the name of Damien Byrne, I don't think he had any other option. Nicky English able to take the free and further add to Waterford's woes. He's put it over the bar. 25 points now against a goal and 8. Still testing that hand there, having picked up that injury, and I think he's signalling to the mentors that he would prefer to be replaced, I feel. I don't think he's all that terribly pleased. It seems to be a collar injury. The doctor going in there just to attend to the star forward. Timmy Sheehan in midfield for Waterford, looking for a few more scores to add a bit more respectability to their position. That was added to by Liam O'Connor, but out over the end line and wide. And another injury down here, and this time it's Paul, is it Paul Delaney or is it, it's the full back indeed, Conor O'Donovan. A head injury, I think, for Conor O'Donovan. As that attack was going in, he may well have connected accidentally with Liam O'Connor's stick, as O'Connor was one-handed at handing that ball, and it ended up over the end line. Tip then preparing to make subs. Another change, I imagine, in the offing. English is still on the field. Donald O'Grady, what do you see of what's happening down there?
Well, at the moment, Conor Donovan, they're signalling from the field that I think that he's to be taken off, and they're getting John Kennedy ready at the moment. In fact, John Kennedy seems to be going on. I'm not quite sure, there's a huddle around the player still, but the Tipperary bench intimated that John Kennedy was to come on, but I'm not quite sure yet.
John Kennedy, who missed the latter stages of the league campaign because of injury and failed to make it for the Limerick match. He'll be anxious to get back into the action, and Conor O'Donovan, who played a very good match in this game. I thought he was a little hesitant against Limerick early on, but he certainly played really well in this Munster final, helped off by the Tipperary doctor, and John Kennedy. There's a huge cheer from the Tip fans greeting the reintroduction of one of the game's young stars, John Kennedy. Conor O'Donovan obviously annoyed having to leave the game, having played so well, but an eye injury will need attention. So we've had a lot of rather ugly play in this match, some of it accidental, unfortunately, some of it quite deliberate. Not the best advertisement for the real flavour and fervour we associate with the Munster Championship, but this is Billy Sullivan. His side having scored just 3 points in what has been a hugely disappointing second half for Waterford. 4.5 minutes to go, and Aidan Ryan, I can tell you, is coming on the field. There he is, coming into shot now, number 19, Aidan Ryan. And I wonder, is it Nicky English who's going to make his way off? That seems to be the case. He was injured in the tussle there with Damien Byrne. English, the master striker, who had a sensational Munster final. He scored 13 points in all. The free has come in. Liam O'Connor getting onto it. It's a goal! A goal belatedly for Waterford by Kieran Delahunty. A goal and 3 points has been his contribution. So the goals have come from Waterford, but Tip have got the points. Just as we were watching Nicky English go off at the other end. So a late rally then by Waterford. Pat Fox with 11 points between the teams, and he has the legs taken from under him by Pat Ryan. And this is not the style of the Waterford side I saw earlier in the championship. They were flying earlier in the championship, but frustration creeped into their game this afternoon, and Pat Ryan in particular here must be hugely disappointed. On the losing side in Munster finals in 82, 83, and it would seem 89 as well. That's stopped by Jimmy Beresford on the goal line. It's come out to Shane Ahern. He's been a magnificently spirited captain all through the championship, received a stern enough challenge that time before he played it in as far as Billy Sullivan. Into space towards Liam O'Connor, the only forward that goes forward. O'Connor again, another great save by Ken Hogan at point-blank range. Oh, that was a beautiful shot and a great save. The second memorable save by Hogan in this final. What goalkeeping. And Jimmy Power at the other end has done exceedingly well as well for Waterford in my view. Here's Jerry Connors, first half substitute, and that goes harmlessly out over the end line. Well, straight after the Kieran Delahunty goal, Liam O'Connor, who scored a goal in injury time, hit this stinging shot, and watch for the reaction save of Hogan in mid-air. Superb. Donald O'Grady, your views at this stage with about 2 minutes remaining.
Well, I think that Tip are just playing it out really. Waterford are making a shot at it to try and get a couple of scores to make a respectable scoreline, but Tip are just playing it out, I think.
Well, 11 points the difference at this stage, and that last shot there by Liam O'Connor would have been oh so vital from a respectable point of view. having suffered real trouncings in the last two Munster finals, as we said earlier, by 32 points and 19 points respectively, and nobody wanted to see that happen again. Jerry Connors up towards Liam O'Connor, rising up high. Paddy Prendergast trying to steal inside with Paul Delaney. Still Prendergast, another chance, and it's another fine save by Ken Hogan at the near post. Ken Hogan makes another great save. Hogan has made his third memorable save in the match. Waterford might now have had 5 goals in this game. Paddy Prendergast was persistent, and that was a neat save at the near post by Ken Hogan. I think you'll agree, Donald O'Grady, we've seen some fine goalkeeping.
Well, actually, Ger, I have Michael Keating here, and I'd just like to get his views on the match. Michael, a most confident and competent display.
It was nice to win. It could be said we won handy enough going, but having said that, I think it's disappointing to say that we didn't get a goal today. And while a lot of people think that we won our third Munster final in a row, I think there's a few problems for us to be sorted out before we meet Galway in the All-Ireland semi-final yet. But however, it was a great performance, and the pressure was on us. Waterford had nothing to lose, and the pressure was on us today.
Well, Michael, you've been searching for the right blend for a number of years. Do you think you're very close to it now?
I think we're close enough, but like we keep the pressure on all the time. We keep searching for improvement. A fellow Corkman of yours gave me a great lesson one time. After playing a great Munster final in Limerick one day, he said, no matter how well you played, you can improve on your performance, and that's my attitude, and it's the attitude of Theo and Donny, and I'll try and impress and impart that on the lads as often as I can. So that'll be our attitude between now and the Galway game.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much.
So the views there of the Michael Babs Keating, the manager, and he must be really pleased as he expressed there with this fine performance. John Heffernan into space, Aidan Ryan. We're in injury time in the 100th Munster Hurling final. Very near the full-time score at this stage. The referee adding some time on. Paddy Prendergast getting it forward. We had the trainer on. We also had 2 sendings off, so it's all at the discretion of the referee on this balmy, hot summer's day in Cork. Cormac Bonner to Aidan Ryan, the second half substitute. And another point. Aidan Ryan's first since coming on. Tips 26th. That will certainly do his confidence no end of good as he pushes for a place in the Tipperary team for the semi-final. So Tip then have done it. The hot favourites justify their high rating and win a 3 in a row in Munster. The 4th time the county has done the hat-trick. 34 Munster wins now for Tip, who win by 26 points to 2 goals and 8 for Waterford. So disappointment for the Dacia men, who continue to make impressive strides, but this afternoon in the second half they had a very disappointing 35 minutes. There's the confirmation of Tip's passage from the Munster final to the All-Ireland semi-final. So Galway will be their opponents, and Bobby Ryan there receiving some attention, the team captain, and we're looking forward to hearing the views of some of the Tipperary players very shortly. But it's a great day for Bobby Ryan. Bobby will be coming across to receive that cup that we told you at half-time doesn't in fact have a name. It's the Munster Cup, the only province in Ireland without a name on its senior hurling cup, and that's the same for the football as well apparently, but that's all quite incidental. Tipperary strung together a committed performance at the second half. That goal must have shaken them just a little before half-time, but there was simply no doubting their excellence in a fully committed second half. Donald O'Grady down by the sideline.
Yes, Sharon, I have Colm Bonner here, the Tipperary midfielder. Colm, a great display. Would you agree with me?
A very good display. We picked off some delightful points. 25 points is a great score. But one aspect that we'll have to look at, that we never scored goals.
Well, I must say, it's probably one of the best displays that Tip have given in 3 years. What about the semi-final against Galway?
Well, we were taking one game as it comes. We weren't trying to trying to see what game we'd win. But against Galway, it's going to be very important to us that at least we get a moral victory over them. It's going to be very important to us.
Well done, Colm. Congratulations again. Well done.
Colm will be very, very pleased indeed. As we said at the beginning, he actually works as a hurling coach in Waterford. He gave a really committed performance. And it's presentation time now. for Bobby Ryan and Michael Maher here making the presentation a happy occasion.
I wish well to Tipperary in the All-Ireland Series. Our town, Corlin the Moon, Shemon Predation, Marka Hira, and Tom, our runner, our captain, Ibradon, Bobby Ryan.
And so Bobby Ryan becomes the first tip man since Pat Stakelum in 1949 to lift the cup here in Cork. 3 in a row for Bobby Ryan for Tipperary in Munster.
It's a great honour for me to accept this cup on behalf of this fabulous Tipperary team. I'd like at this stage to thank certain people who have played a tremendous part in our victory. Namely our three selectors, Donny, Theo and Babs, the all tremendous team. So our unbelievable designer, Bill Conway, he really has a tremendous job done on us. I would also like at this stage to thank our country board and our supporters club for all the work they have done, not just over the last 6 months, but over the last 3 years together hand in hand. They've done a tremendous job with the players, everything we've ever wanted we got. And I think we've seen the fruits of that here today. I would also like at this stage to pay a special tribute to the Lockmore Castleiney Club, who are Tipperary out in this 100 Munster final. Finally, all that's left for me to say is Galway out to Waterford. Hard luck, they call it like that. And let's have 3 rousing cheers for Waterford. Give him.
So as the cup is raised aloft and 3 cheers for Waterford, let's get a final word from Donal O'Grady down there on the ground.
Well, sure. Great scenes of jubilation here, but I think at this stage, 3 in a row for Tip. I think they're getting used to it. None of the scenes like in 1987, more subdued. I think that they went out working like performance and a good job done.
Final score in Croke Park, incidentally, Meath 3-11, Offaly 9 points, Meath safely through against Dublin in the Leinster final. That's it for now on a day when Tipperary became Munster champions for the 34th time. Don't forget highlights from here in the Sunday game tonight on Network 2, plus football from Leinster and Connacht. That's at 9:30. Until then, from RTE Sport in Porky Queeve, a very good afternoon to you all. Bye-bye.
Oh, I think they were coasting all along. They realised they hadn't to take goals, that they were in front, they could keep getting the scores, and they were by far the most dominant team. And I think maybe the goals will come some other day.
But an impressive total, 26 points, and some great points, weren't they?
Yes, it was a great example of point scoring today. Most opportunities they got, they converted. They possibly could have got 1 or 2 goals, and I think if the match was closer, they would have looked for more goals. But certainly it was an exhibition in taking your scores today.
Yeah, as a neighbour, you've got to be sorry for Waterford. 3 disasters now in the 1980s alone.
Yes, it's unfortunate for Waterford. I suppose today that they did better than they did in the 2 previous ones from a scoreline point of view, but the fact that the 2 men dismissed doesn't, help matters much. But I'm sorry for Waterford today.
OK, we're taking a commercial break now, and then we'll be back to hear John Henderson's analysis of the Munster final. And you're welcome back. Well, John Henderson was casting a critical eye on the Munster final today. John, were Tipperary a superior team, as the result suggests?
Well, they fully merited the result. I suppose people will be questioning, the calibre of Waterford today. But I think Tip, no matter who they'd have been playing today, would have won the Munster, I think.
And they were on top nearly all through the field after those first few minutes, weren't they?
Yeah, I think they dominated. Nick English led the way from the start. The very first ball down to him. He got out first, lost his man, and, once he gets possession, it's nearly always guaranteed score.
So
There's
a
another
lovely
passage.
point there.
Yeah, here's another example from the half-back line. Colin Bonner, you know, gets great possession, knows exactly what he's going to do, and puts it straight over the bar. I mean, an attacking half-back line from all ends. Here's another example of the fitness of Tipperary. John Nahy outpaces two Waterford defenders and takes the point, full of confidence, very fit.
Now, I was in Croke Park, but I believe there were some unfortunate incidents in that Munster final.
Yeah, regrettably so, and it was unfortunate to see any team ending up with 13 men, but I think on balance, I think it was a fair reflection. I think as the game proceeded, Waterford became more and more frustrated, and you know, it was unfortunate that there were 2 men sent off. There's some instance here. Here's the first, Nolly Crowley is sent off, and I think it kind of speaks for itself when you look at it. Though I know Nolly, he probably had no intent, but you know, the heat of the moment. But I don't think he can argue with that. Here's another incident as well. Shane Ahern is booked for that incident, and a lot of Waterford people were commenting to know whether that was intentional. Personally, I didn't think Declan Ryan intended that, throwing the ball. I think this incident where Damien Byrne is sent off, he might have been a bit unfortunate, because I feel it was Pat Ryan that probably did more damage. And if you see it in slow motion here, you might see what I mean.
Yeah, the number 7 there.
The number
has
7
hurley up.
actually strikes. You know, so I mean, I suppose on balance, Waterford can't complain. I think they got very frustrated with the game as it went on, and it just lent itself to this element, and regrettably so, I think.
Okay, John, well, thank you very much indeed. Well, with the first semi-final in Connacht ending in a draw,